You know, it's funny, I'm driving in sunny South Florida, got the top down. It's so beautiful driving my Phantom. What could be better than this? You know, it's just, I'm a happy guy, just a happy guy. And it's funny because Ted Vernon has never had a car he wouldn't sell. Now I've got a few that I wouldn't sell. I'm becoming a collector. It's funny. Just is what it is. I've become a lover of certain cars. Just in general, a different kind of guy now. Might be because I'm getting older, it might be because of the wonderfulness of Cindy, that she taught me so much about life and happiness, and I don't know. Right now, I'm gonna drive up to see an old friend, Brian Stiles. He's got a car that I want. It's formerly owned by Bill Goldberg. It's a really, really nice car. And he doesn't want to sell it, but I want to buy it. So we're gonna have to see if we can make this work somehow.
We got the team on the lot and we are on the run. Hanging with my band is a lots of fun. And we know what it takes to be number one. We're just out here in the Florida sun.
Ted's got classic cars all over the place.
When I was younger, I used to race. We'll be riding high when the day is done.
Ted Vernon, please sell me some fun.
I'm Ted Vernon. I'm the best at what I do, buying, selling, and trading classic cars. What any classic car dealer will tell you is that they hate it when an owner has an emotional attachment to their car. That means it's almost impossible to get them to sell. In the past, I've avoided these collectors, but after 50 years, I'm taking on the ultimate challenge. Join me as I attempt to buy the cars that people love. This is South Beach Classics Cars People Love Edition. I'm doing something very difficult today. I'm going to try to buy cars today that people don't want to sell. And these are cars I want. So it's going to be an interesting experience for me. Yeah, I'm the best at the buy, sell, and trade, but when you have someone that's emotionally tied to a car, it makes it very, very difficult. I'm here to buy those cars.
We're here in Boynton Beach, Florida today at Museum 66. This is our man cave where we keep 3 different car collections, one of them being mine. I'm not a good seller. I'm very reluctant when it comes to selling cars. But yeah, I love to buy them, all different makes and models, you know, whether Chevys, Pontiacs, Shelbys, Fords, you name it. I'm good at buying.
Everything's for sale, and everything has a price. And if Brian, who's really tough to buy from, will get a price, we'll try and get it done. But, you know, the good thing about him is he collects. So when he gets something that he values more, he'll need a spot, and he'll call me. And then I'll try and buy a car from him. But he's tough.
Buying cars that people love is a challenge. And I think Ted's got a challenge ahead of him today. This is a car that I love.
Yeah, he's already basically told me he didn't want to sell the Bill Goldberg car, which I want. Great car, rare car, special car, pace car. A lot of special things about it, and I want that car for myself. That would be a keeper.
If you count just 383 4-speed Cuda convertibles, 1970 models, I think you're down to about 68 of them. Cuda convertibles in general are rare. This particular car I've had for about 3 or 4 years now. Market value on the car, if it did not have the provenance that it does, would probably be in the low $200,000 range. With the provenance, I would guess probably somewhere north of $250,000. You know, look, when you're chasing after these cars, we all seem to talk about rarity, right? But before rarity comes into play, desirability comes first. We have to desire the car, and once we all do and agree that that car is desirable, then it becomes who gets to beat their chest the loudest, who's got the rarest car. The third thing a lot of people forget about that really puts it over the top is the provenance. Did the car serve a special purpose? Was there celebrity ownership? Did it race? Did it win? And this car has all 3. It has desirability, it has rarity, and now it has the provenance documented.
It's funny when someone says they love a car, I might as well leave because it's just, they don't want to sell it. Why am I here? I'm trying to buy cars. This gentleman, Brian, that we're going to go see, I'm connected with him. He's a super nice man, and he knows I'm not coming to play, so we'll see what happens.
Why, Marvin, why? You're a normal boy. You should have normal desires. Why couldn't you get a big car like your brother, the doctor? Or even a funny little car like your sister, the soldier? No, you had to get a banana Cuda. Barracuda, Mama.
The Plymouth Barracuda is a two-door pony car that was manufactured by Chrysler from 1964 to 1974. The 1970 Barracuda was the third generation of the car that was now based on the new E-body, a shorter, wider version of Chrysler's existing B platform that really tightened things up. The redesign helped to remove the stigma of the original concept that the Barracuda was a sport derivative of the Valiant, which could be described as a great all-around economy car. This was not a desirable connection for the fledgling muscle car and helped Mustang outsell the Cuda 10-1. They say hindsight is 20/20, and if the redesign came out a couple of years earlier, the landscape of the Barracuda's legacy could have been wildly different. Chrysler managed to build one of the most exciting pony cars of the era, and when properly equipped, few others could outperform it on the road. With new shapes, a bevy of options, 9 engine choices, and Chrysler's high-impact paint palette, the E-body Barracuda could be anything you wanted. With a burst of sales in 1970, the Barracuda saw a 73% increase over the old A-body models, but the party was not meant to last. Muscle cars in general were breathing their last hooray, and pony car sales were slumping hard in the wake of the first OPEC crisis. By the end of 1974, the E-body was all but extinct, and along with it, the Barracuda. But sometimes yesterday's slump is today's rarity, and that certainly applies to the Barracuda. With sales dropping and lower production runs to match, there were only a few hundred of any given desirable Cuda models hitting the streets. Nowadays, spotting even a common version of the car is not an everyday event. The fanning of the flames built by decades of lore, a cult-like following, and untold millions spent at auction should answer that one simple question of how Barracudas continue to sniff around the 6-figure threshold at auctions. If your chant is a Mopar or no car, then a 1970 Barracuda is the right ride for you.
Hey, buddy.
What are you doing here?
You told me to come here. I'm coming.
I thought I told you no.
You told me no, but that doesn't mean anything. I want to buy a car today from you.
Want to play some pool first?
No.
Okay.
I want to buy a car. I want to buy that car that Bill Goldberg had. Want to show it to me?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you better.
Yeah,
Come on.
all right.
I
Well,
drove
you know
a long
you're here.
way.
You're
Huh?
here. You're here.
Well,
You're here. I'll show it to you.
I'm honored to be here. We've done a few things together, and
Yeah.
I got great respect for you. So now
Appreciate
you have
that.
to be nice to me and sell me something. This was Bill Goldberg's car.
It was. It was.
Bill Goldberg is a legend, and he's in some shape. He's a great condition, pro football player turned wrestler. I made a movie about wrestling, and I've been in that business. I love that whole thing. My name as a wrestler was Trillionaire Ted, and that was me. And as a matter of fact, somewhere in this rotted book is my wrestling. I have a card from wrestling. Ta-da! It's Trillionaire Ted. I was a great wrestler. I was very quickly forgotten. And it's just, it's really something I cherish. I really love the sport, and I love the guys. Every single one you meet in this business, just terrific guys. They do a lot of nice things. So that's driving me more. I don't want to tell that to Brian, but that's really part of why I want to buy the car. How many do they build like this?
1970 Cuda 383 convertible, 4-speed. I believe the number is 68. And obviously not 68 lemon twist ones, but 68 total of all colors.
Wow.
And I know you're gonna ask, where's the shaker? Because every Cuda has a shaker, right? Not true. Very rare option, the shaker. Now, standard equipment on all your Hemis,
Yeah.
but it was optional on every other engine package. Today, everyone's cut holes in their hood and they've added them. This was a non-shaker car, and it is restored correctly with the
I'm shaking
sport
looking at
hood.
it. I love it. It's immaculate, isn't it?
It's restored very well.
Yes, it is.
That's actually the original license plate on the car from 1970.
I didn't notice.
Yep, California.
That's the
California
plate?
blue plate. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, this is
This needs to go to my castle.
a rust-free California car. Just as a general piece, it's a very original, solid, well-done car. Of course, you're here because of the celebrity ownership, but here's why I became attached to the car. That's the original paperwork. Take a look at that.
That's the car?
That's the car.
Oh, my goodness.
This photograph was found, and I had a hunch that it might be the car because it's yellow, front rubber bumper, painted racing mirrors, convertible, California Riverside International Raceway, October 1969. This car was built early enough, and 45 days before the race, you know, a pace car would have been sent by the factory to be special prepped. Tires would have been x-rayed, the engine would have been checked through, because you do not want a pace car failing when it's in the public eye. So this car received special attention.
It's special. I love it. They only built 68 of these cars, so it's already a very, very special car. But the provenance that it has really rings the bell for me. This car actually was a pace car for a Can-Am race, documented, that he found the documentation for it. He should be a private detective.
The race was won by Team McLaren's Denny Hume. Now, he was from New Zealand, and so the car was awarded to him, but he gave up the car and took the cash equivalent. So he actually never owned it, but it was awarded to him.
We even found after the race, when they listed the car for sale in California by Ralph's Chrysler Plymouth, there's the VIN. Oh, it's just the $4,300.
He knows so much about these cars. It's very tough to try to outfact him on his own car. So I'm gonna just do my best. The chances of me buying this car today, with all my efforts, from 1 to 10, I would say is about a 2, because he's really hard-nosed about his cars. I brought the greenery to brighten up the scenery. I'm gonna try my best. So we'll see what happens. I love the car, so sell me the car. How much do I gotta pay for this car? I came here to buy it.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, the car is not for sale. I appreciate you coming here because a good chance to see is always good.
Great, but I wanna buy the car. $250,000 I'll pay you today for the car.
That is a fair price.
Yeah,
That is a fair price. That tells me you want the car.
yeah, I do.
And-
And I'm your buddy. Sell me the car. You know, you got enough. I want this car. Still, this is a wrestling car. I love this car. I want this car.
It's a good car. It's,
And
a, fair
I made
it's
you
a
a-
fair price. I don't like saying no to a friend,
Right? So don't.
but I'm not ready to sell it yet. But, hear me out. I'm chasing a particular 67 Shelby right now, and you know that's where my passion's at.
I know that. You love Shelbys.
And if I'll make you the deal that if I can land the Shelby that I'm chasing, that I will sell you this car for the price that you offered,
$250.
$250.
Okay? Go get the Shelby.
I'm working on it. You know, as well as I know,
It's not easy.
that prying particular cars out of people's hands can take a little time.
All right, but get it done, because I want this car. I love it.
We'll work on it together.
Yeah. You want me to leave you some money on it?
No, I don't, because if I can't get the Shelby, this one stays here.
If you get the Shelby,
But
it's
if I
mine.
get the Shelby, I think you'd be a good new caretaker for this car, all right?
Okay. I'm good with that.
All right.
I'm good. It was
Well, it's
really
good to see you no matter
I
what.
was going to say that. You know,
Yeah.
it's always good to see you.
And if you want to
No.
talk about other cars,
No. No, I want
can,
this car.
I can get you into a Pontiac.
You know, I offered him $250, and that's all of it. And he liked the price. He was fine with that. And he said to me, if he gets the Shelby that he's trying to buy, then it's mine. And I'm good with that, because his word's his bond. He'll get the Mustang. I know him. He'll get the Mustang.
If I'm successful pursuing the 67 Shelby that I'm chasing right now, I am going to need the space. You know, garage space is at a premium. It doesn't matter where you're at. None of us like to build a whole nother building because we have too many cars. We just have to make the difficult decision of which one to let go. And who we pass that torch to makes a big difference.
So I'm going to consider it leased out to you for now.
Okay.
When you call me, I'll bring you 250 and take it.
Tell you what, you want to go for a ride?
I wouldn't mind. You can aggravate me, but
She
I'll
sounds
do it.
really good.
Crank it. Let's go.
All right. You know, when I offered to take Ted for a ride, I mean, part of that was selfish. I really enjoy driving this car and grinding through 4 years. I hope Ted enjoys it the same way I do.
Brian offered to take me for a ride in this car, and I want to hear what the beast sounds like. So I'm excited about it. Let's do this. I want to ride in this car.
I think you're going to enjoy it.
Oh, I enjoy it now. I enjoy looking at it. It's beautiful.
All right.
I'm excited.
We're not renegotiating if it don't start. Yeah, I figured I'd do the driving today. I know Ted drives a land yacht, which provides a lot of safety for him, but with this car, I figured we'd keep Ted in the secondary seat.
I'm excited. This car sounds great, runs great. I can't pick anything apart on the car. I'm so happy. The only problem I got is his heart is in the car. He loves the car. It's an investment to him, and it's this and it's that. And I understand that. That's what happens when you get someone that loves his car. I think I've gotten by that. And I'm gonna wait. Then I'll be the caretaker. This car needs a new home, and it's gonna be my home. And I'm so happy. I won't sell it, I'll just keep it. This car needs a new lover, me. I know Bob over 45 years. He's a dear friend. He's a brilliant car guy. He was probably the best newscaster we've ever had down here. He was world famous. He would review cars on the news with his Mayor car report, and he could be absolutely brutal.
Our New Yorker Brougham had one of the most elegant interiors available in any car. In addition to being fitted well, the New Yorker interior has very little plastic. It is solid, reminiscent of the way most cars used to be. This car did have two annoying problems. The right front power window appeared at times to be dying, and the right front power door lock hung up several times in the lock position.
Back in 1978, I heard that Ted owned a classic car dealership on Northwest 79th Street. I pitched the idea to my boss, and he said, great, go out and do a story. So I went out to 79th Street and did a story with Ted on his car lot. He interested me in getting an antique car of my own. We talked a lot, we went out, we looked at several cars together, and ultimately, I bought my first antique car from Ted Vernon in 1978. And I've known him, and we've been friends ever since.
The way I feel about this trip to Bob's house is it's really good to see Bob. He's got a Ford retractable convertible that I want to buy. I have one as well, and this one I know is quality, and I'd like to buy it. I don't think I got a shot with him because he doesn't want to sell it, but I'll try.
I find it hard to believe that what Ted is all about has actually changed, but the chances of me actually selling this car to Ted, 0.
I'm a very optimistic guy, and I'd say 100 being perfect and 0 being nothing. I'd say probably 5%. He loves that car. He wants to pass it on to his son, and I really had my work cut out for me. But again, I really came to see Bob, so if I can get that car and pay him stupid money for it, I will. It's the best one I've ever seen.
You know, when you've had something like half of your adult life, I don't think I could part with it. When I was 10 years old in 1957, my dad took me to Huskamp Motors, the Ford dealership at the time on Dixie Highway and Lejeune Road. They were debuting the first mass-produced retractable hardtop convertible, the Ford Skyliner. We were in the showroom. I watched the dance of that top go back into the trunk, became a convertible in 60 seconds. As a kid, I fell in love with it. I begged my dad to buy one. At the time, we couldn't afford it, but my family did end up buying a Fairlane 500 hardtop. When they traded that car in 3 years later, I took the owner's manual out of the glove box and kept it, saved it for more than 30 years until I found and could afford my own Skyliner, and this is it. When I bought the car, I bought it as what they call a frame-off restoration. At that time, the odometer was set at 0. Since I've had the car now for 34 years, it has about 23,000 miles that I have actually put on that car since I bought it. The interior of this car is one of the most unique things about the car. It's got gold and silver inlay. It's got silver all over the door panels. It's got a padded dash. The color of the car is probably the neatest thing about the car. It's like a salmon color. Officially, they called it geranium and white. The geranium is very much like a peachy kind of a color. It's unique, it stands out, and it's very 50-ish. I think the car in this condition, with the history of this car, it would probably be worth between $75,000 and $85,000.
You know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And whoever beholding mine is beautiful. But I just think that Bob's got an idea what it's worth. He's probably more right than I am. But the one I got, I'd be really overjoyed to get 35 or 40 for it, retail. It's not what I paid. But this is a better car. And I'd pay a little more just to get it from Bob. It's that good a car. I think that retail of that car might be 60 to 65. Even if I hit his number, he's not gonna take it. He loves the car, wants to pass it on, and I get it. When you have that kind of emotion, it's very hard to buy a car. I'm gonna try, but it's very hard to buy a car.
This 59 Skyliner, you know, I've got a bunch of cars, but this car is definitely part of the family. It's part of my identity. Everyone who knows me knows that I have a 59 Ford Skyliner. My son, who's now 43, you know, we got this car 34 years ago. He's been helping me with this car since he was a kid, you know, working on it, waxing it, you know, fixing it mechanically. Everybody that I know associates me with my 59 Ford Skyliner. I've got a very understanding wife. She knows my love of cars, and she knows my infatuation with this particular 59 Ford.
Now, you're going to see the car they all said couldn't be built. All except the folks at Ford, that is. Here, making its first appearance on the Ford show, is the new Ford Skyliner.
The Ford Fairlane 500 Skyliner is a two-door full-size retractable hardtop convertible that was manufactured by the Ford Motor Company from 1957 to 1959. It was the first retractable hardtop to be mass-produced, and Ford bestowed a fitting name for this automotive advancement, the Hideaway Hardtop. The Skyliner's retractable top was truly a complex mechanism that essentially folded the front of the roof and retracted it under the rear deck lid. Instead of the typical hydraulic mechanisms, the 1959 Skyliner top used 6 reversible electric motors, 4 lift jacks, a series of relays, 10 limit switches, 10 solenoids, 4 locking mechanisms for the roof, and 2 locking mechanisms for the trunk lid, and 610 feet of wiring. With the push of a button, the Hideaway hardtop could go from a steel hardtop to a wide-open convertible in 60 seconds. Ford's marketing team proclaimed this feat as an engineering miracle, and in true 50s fashion, it was so easy that your wife could do it.
Lucy, honey, look, you know how to take ice cubes out of a refrigerator, but this is an automobile. It's a complicated machinery. Women just don't understand. Hey, Lucy, put on the brakes. The trunk is open.
Just be calm, dear.
Thank you, Lucy. And oh, how the times have changed. Oh, and so did the nameplate on the 1959 model. Shortly after production began on the 1959 model year, the name was expanded to include the word Galaxy. The addition of the Galaxy designation was a strategic Ford marketing tie-in with the excitement surrounding the space race. The car was exactly the same, except for the change to the badge on the rear fender. Although 1959 was the start of the Galaxy model line for Ford, it was the end of the line for the Ford Fairlane 500 Skyliner. This showroom beauty had a short 3-year lifespan, but the car remains a beloved classic that is admired as a true showcase of ingenuity, style, and an embodiment of the optimism of its era. Nothing says the 1950s quite like a Ford Fairlane 500 Skyliner.
I can't believe it.
It's me.
Are you here for me or the car?
A little both. A little both.
Great seeing you. How you doing? Good, good, good.
Good. I feel all right, too, for an old fella. This is it, huh?
This is it.
I've had this car, what, how long?
34 and a half years.
Aren't you tired of it?
Yeah. I will never get tired of my baby.
Well, this might be the right day. I think you should give this car to me. I'll buy it, and you should get another car.
You know that this car has every single option that they offered in 1959.
AC?
Ice-cold AC, still running on R12. Power steering, power brakes, power windows, power seats, everything. Doesn't get better than this, Ted.
So how much do I have to pay for this $35,000 car?
You're
Gotta start somewhere.
You're off on the wrong foot.
Ow. Anyway, no, it's gorgeous. I love it. I've known this car for many, many years with you, and it's time to sell this car to me. Let me have it. I'll give it a home.
Want to see the original window sticker?
Yeah. You got it? The original one? What size engine is this one?
352.
Oh, wow. That's the original window sticker?
It's a duplicate that I had made 34 years ago.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Look at that price.
$5,033.45. All right, I'll take it.
MSRP.
I'll give you 6,000. No, huh? Okay. But seriously, you know, you've had the car a long time. Don't you get tired of it?
I would never get tired of this car.
Would you get tired of it if I gave you enough money?
Well, I mean, I guess there is a figure somewhere in the stratosphere that I might consider, but you're not going to pay it.
Look to Uranus. I would put this one in my collection. I would keep this car.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, now
I'm tweaking you a
you're
little
getting
bit.
a little bit closer now.
Uh-huh. No, I wouldn't sell it. First of all, it was yours, and you're a dear friend, and that matters to me. We've been through some adventures together.
Indeed, we have.
Yes, we have. I mean, who else has pulled a gun on you but when you're with me?
That was the only time in my life anyone ever pulled a gun on me.
He pulled it on me?
On both of us.
Yeah. We actually went to buy a car from a guy, and he said, you can drive it. And we got in it, and it rode about 3 or 4 blocks and quit. And we went back to the guy. He thought we were trying to steal his car. He pulled a gun on me. And Bob, he thought he was going to die, and he was pretty sure I was too. And I said to the guy as politely as I could that if he doesn't put the gun away, I'm going to put the gun where the sun doesn't shine. And he put the gun away. He thought Bob was going to faint. It was a very nerve-wracking experience, but I guess I said the right thing. I don't know. But that was one of our first adventures together. That's what happens when you go searching for cars. You meet crazy people like us.
You say you have one of these.
I do.
Is it a Fairlane 500 or a Galaxy?
The one I have is a Galaxy.
The Fairlane 500s were made for only 8 weeks at the very beginning of 1959 production in late '58. After that, they were all Galaxies. So the Fairlane 500s are much rarer than the Galaxies.
I didn't realize that, but I do now. That's incredible.
Yeah.
How many did they make?
There's a total Skyliner production for that year was a little over 12,000.
Wait, how many Fairlanes did they make?
Can't tell you that. All that is known is they were only produced for 8 weeks. The first 8 weeks.
Couldn't have been more than a few hundred cars.
No.
Wow. That I didn't know. Now I got to boost up my offer.
In 1959, Ford introduced a brand new model called the Galaxy. But when production started, they weren't ready with the Galaxy line. So for the first 8 weeks, they only produced the Skyliner retractable as a Fairlane 500. There was really no difference between the Galaxy and the Fairlane 500 except the medallion. The first 8 weeks, only Fairlane 500 medallions. After that, all of them were Galaxies. There's no question that the Fairlane 500 Skyliner is more valuable because there were so very few of them. There were probably only a few hundred of them made. Ted actually was unaware of that fact. The man is an encyclopedia of automotive knowledge, but he didn't know that one fact.
You know, in the car business, if it's a limited edition, if it's a special car like that one, they're just worth a lot more money. I did not know it was a Fairlane. I thought it was a Galaxy like I have. But there's a big difference, and I learned that today. This car is so loaded with options for back in 1959. It's got power seats. It's got a 352 V8, which was a really good motor. I got to watch him put the roof up, which is always a really interesting thing in a car that old.
I don't think there's anybody who isn't impressed, awed, I might say, by watching a 65-year-old car do what this car can do. Imagine turning from a hardtop into a convertible in 60 seconds by the touch of a button, it still amazes me. That's why I love the car.
I've known Bob's cars for many, many years. I've known this retractable for many years. It's got everything going for it that it could have. I'd love to have the car, but Bob's not going to come off the car. You don't want to sell this car.
I don't want to sell the car.
Yeah, but you have
I mean,
to.
look at this. Look at this.
Even at train stops, you've had it for 40-something years. It's enough already.
Okay, let's just talk. What do you think the car is worth? Now, I don't want you reselling this car. You already indicated that you would keep it.
I would.
What do you think is the top retail?
Well, the top retail I would pay.
Okay.
Not what the top retail would be.
Okay.
But as nice as this car is, and I'm selling mine probably for 35 or 40, okay? I would pay for this car, and I put my money where my mouth is. Yeah. I would pay 60 for this car. That's a real fair offer. I'm waiting on you. What about if I would have said 70 or 80? What am I standing here for? Take me to dinner, do something.
The truth of the matter is, I think the car's worth between $75,000 and $85,000.
Would you take that?
No.
Tough dealing with you. There's no dealing here. Would you buy me dinner?
Of course. I would buy you dinner anytime.
Well, good. I'm going to move in then. I'm broke.
You choose the place.
Okay. But anyway, this is gorgeous. I love it. Can you put me as like that? If it's not a family member, can you put me on top of the hit list to buy it?
After my son.
Yeah, if he doesn't want it.
Okay. You got a deal.
Good. Just tell him what I owe you and I'll buy it. Is that fair?
Yep.
Okay. I always love seeing you, my friend.
Me too.
We got a long history with me.
You can come by anytime you want.
Okay.
The problem this afternoon was that even though Ted offered me less than I believe the car is worth, it really wouldn't have mattered if he gave me exactly what I thought it was worth. I just don't want to sell the car. It's too much a part of me. It's too much a part of my identity. Ted said, if my son doesn't want the car when I'm gone, could he be first on the list? And I said, absolutely. That's a deal I can accept. If my son doesn't want the car after I'm gone, he's welcome to have the car. He can work that out with my son, Chad.
I don't like to pat myself on the back, but I knew he wouldn't sell the car. I know how he feels about the car. I know where it's going when he goes. And if his kid doesn't want it, then they'll call me. Other than that, I got no shot. In the meantime, I'm still going to try and buy cars from people that they love the cars. I'm going to beat my head against the wall and do the best I can, but everything's got a price. Just not Bob.